But
Yo, what's going on, Winning Shot family? And happy New Year, man. We excited for another episode. We got a lot of content to go over, man. First, I want to ask y'all boys, man, how was y'all's New Year?
Man, a good start to the new year, man. Was in was in the house of the Lord when the new year rang in, man, giving God his due. So, man, New Year's gonna be great, man. We're excited for 2025. A lot of good stuff is gonna happen this year, and we got a lot of good sports stuff to talk about. So I can't wait.
yes, sir. New Year's was good. Like John said, spent it with the Lord. So that was good. Um, excited for the year. Excited for what's to come. Let's get it.
For sure, man. You know, with the new year comes these college football bowl games, and we had a lot of exciting different matchups. And the matchups we thought were going to be blowouts were actually games that were, great games. And I think that this college football playoff has definitely been an experience where we're able to see teams that we thought weren't that good actually come up and show up, and the teams we thought was good actually the ones that's getting blown out. So let's just go to the first game, man. So we got Penn State, Boise State. They played in the Verbo Fiesta Bowl. Number 6, Penn State beat Boise State 31-14. Drew Aller threw for 171 yards and 3 touchdowns. Meanwhile, the Heisman candidate Ashton Jeanty only rushed for 104 yards, and most of that came in the fourth quarter. How y'all boys feeling about the game? What's your thoughts?
Clear, Hundo.
Man, Penn State came out and did what they were supposed to do.
Yeah.
What a lot of people expected them to do. They held Jeanty to 40 yards in the first half. I think he had 39 yards in the first half.
Yeah.
So they bottled him up, like you said. He got a lot of them yards in the fourth quarter. And, they were down, multiple scores, and they were just handing him the ball. I'm like, are y'all just purposely trying to get this man over 100 yards, bro? They clearly wasn't trying to, take no shots downfield or nothing. I'm just like, y'all really handing this man the ball off. So, yeah, they handled business. You said Drew threw for 3 touchdowns, but, hey, the 2 running backs was going crazy, too.
That's true. That's true.
They got a 2-headed monster in that backfield.
Yeah.
Allen and Singleton.
Got to talk about that tight end, too. The Warren. Yeah. He showed up, too.
I think he was out there wearing number 44.
Yeah, bro.
No, he cold.
Yeah, he won the Mackey Award for the best tight end in the country this year. So, bro, he a dog for real. He really is a dog. And to Hundo's point, man, like you said, the game went how exactly I thought it was going to go. Last week, if you did not recall, I said, listen, it's going to be Jeanty last game in the Boise State uniform. I had a feeling, man, it just wasn't going to work out too well for them because their game plan was the same all season, get the ball to Jeanty. And Penn State heard all the noise coming into the game of, Jeanty going to get shut, Jeanty going to run all over y'all, da-da-da-da. Y'all had some issues last week with, SMU. So I think when it came into the game, it was like, engage Jake. We're going to go straight for Jeanty every play. You know what I'm saying? And so Boise State really just didn't have an answer outside of that. They tried to get the ball out. At first, they tried to kind of keep it kind of close. It got close for a second, and then it was like, oh, we know what time it is. And to your point earlier with the rushing for Jeanty, I think Jeanty was chasing the all-time record that was set by Barry Sanders, of what I heard on the show during the game. So that's why I think that's why they kept trying to hand him the ball off towards the end of the game. So, people are trying to chase records. Yeah, people trying to chase records. Yeah. They knew the game was over, so it was like, it is what it is. But game was over. So, shout out Penn State getting it done, man.
My thing is, I don't think the offensive coordinator got creative. They were trying to run the ball up the middle. I'm like, man, Penn State's not worried about this. Y'all don't have the same offensive line as Penn State's defensive line. And I feel like if they were going to get the ball to Jeanty, they could have been a lot more creative, utilize the sidelines, maybe jet sweep, send them in motion, something like that. But it just seemed like nothing was working, and they thought that they were better than they were in terms of roster. And I feel like they wanted that kind of game because you got to think the defense coordinator was probably game planning the halfback dive the whole week. So
yeah.
Now, question: you was talking about getting it to the outside and stuff. Is that really in his game? I'm not sharp, so I don't know. Is that really in his game to run into the outside? It seemed like a bigger back, but yeah, we'll see. And like you said, they were outsized. Penn State is a naturally bigger team. It was clear on both sides of the ball. especially in the trenches. Like they clearly had to outmatched.
Yeah. So do you feel like, based on this game, do you feel like it has hurt Jeanty's draft stock?
I wouldn't necessarily say that. I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely think it hurts his draft stock. I think that you have to look at the player as an individual. Individually, I mean, the man is great. I mean, I can't take that away from him. He was the second runner-up for the Heisman this year. So, I think that running backs as a whole in the NFL have been devalued. But I also think that this year, with the revitalization of the running back between Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley, that it may have helped Jeanty overall as coming in as a running back. Now, do I think he's going to get drafted top 10? No. He probably won't get drafted top 15, but he'll definitely get drafted, I think, within the top 25 of the draft this year. And that's a big accomplishment because people were not drafted any running backs in the first round at all. Outside of Bijan, got drafted at 7 a couple years ago, but he was different. So I think Jeanty's different, but I don't know if he's top 7 different. I definitely think I said Jeanty will definitely go in the first round, top 25 easily. A lot of teams need running backs, and because of, like I said, Derrick Henry and Saquon going off the way they did this year, somebody's gonna be like, yeah, we need to have a game breaker at running back to also offset this throwing that we're doing in the NFL. So I think that he'll definitely have a good combine, I believe. I think he's a fast back. He's not big. He's like 5'7", not a big guy at all. But I think that his NFL combine will also help him. So I think it'd be overall still be good.
Word. So shifting gears to Penn State, how do y'all feel about Penn State as a team? Do you think they have the roster and in order to win it all? They blew out SMU in this game. They are up by multiple scores. What do you think, Ando? You think they got the team?
I think they have a pretty good shot. They have a stout defense, pretty good defense. If Drew doesn't turn the ball over, if the running backs are running the ball how they've been running the ball, I like their chances. Somebody on the outside is definitely gonna have to step up and make some plays along with the tight end. But we'll see. I think they have a favorable matchup with Notre Dame, and we'll get to that a little bit later. But I think that'll be a good game.
Yeah, I think they haven't been tested yet, man. Like I said, I don't think Boise State tested them. I don't think SMU tested them. They were at home for SMU. This is the neutral site, but I still don't think Boise State, as we mentioned earlier, just wasn't able to match up with them physically. I want to see them against another Power 5 school that's able to match up with them, player for player. So I think this next round should test them, and if they win this next round, I think they have a really good shot, obviously, because it'll be in their championship game. But in terms of them just playing like a better Power 5 school, I think this would be a better test this next upcoming game for them.
Cool. All right, so let's shift gears to John's infamous move your hand game that did not turn out to be a move your hand.
Not turn out to be move your hand.
Yeah. Number 5 Texas took on number 4 Arizona State in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Texas won in 2 overtimes, 39-31. Quinn Ewers had 322 yards with 3 touchdowns and 1 interception. Sam Levitt had 222 yards with 1 interception, but the star of the night was Cam Skattebo. He had 30 carries, 143 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So I wanted to start this segment by issuing an apology to Cam Skattebo, because if y'all watched the last episode, you know that I and John were definitely saying that Cam Skattebo was not it. And personally, I'm going to be real, I just didn't see it. And I had my biases because I was like, okay, this is a white running back. So I was like, besides McCaffrey, I had to put some reservations. And he definitely showed up. He didn't just show up in the run, but he also threw for a touchdown. John, you want to formally apologize?
Yeah, I do want to apologize as well, man. Like I said, I definitely was like, this was the move your hand game. I just had no kind of faith in Arizona State at all. And they came out, and at the beginning, I was like, oh, I'm right. It came out and gave like 14 early. I was like, oh, yeah, I texted us in the chat. I was like, I told you I just want to be a blowout. And then, I don't know, the boys found some dog, man. They started making some plays on defense. Skattebo started getting that ball some more. And it was crazy because they were giving Skattebo the ball early a lot, right? And it just wasn't working. They just kept hitting him. But the young man had a lot of fight in him. He really did. He had a lot of fight in him, and he didn't give up. Kept running that ball. And then shout out to the OC, man, that had to come with a good fake. And actually, I read a report today that Skattebo actually called the audible for that halfback touchdown pass. So, man, Skattebo really showed me something. Like Collin said, man, I have some biases coming out. Like, it's the Texas defense that's been dominant all year. And I don't think that you're just going to be like, he was coming to the game saying nobody can stop me. He was really just talking what I thought crazy to the Texas defense. But he came out and showed me something, man. I can't even sit here and cap, man. That young man got a very good game to him. I think he has a decent future ahead of him as long as he continues to play the way that he plays. He doesn't give up. And I think that for itself speaks a lot. So, man, shout out to Skattebo. Honestly, Arizona State should win the game. They really blew it at the end, and we'll discuss that here in a second. But they really should have beat Texas. So, whew, crazy.
Yeah.
Hey, when they said he was on the sideline throwing up and he was still going back out there, I said, "Oh, he's different."
He's different, bro. I'm telling you.
Oh, he's different.
He said flu game.
Not for real. So the team need me. I'm out there, coach.
Yeah.
I'm
I know
ready.
what was your thoughts?
Nah, he definitely showed up and showed out. I know we was talking about last week if he would get over 100 rushing yards, and I was like, he catch the ball and he run the ball. So I was like, if it's combined, shoot, he gonna get over 100. But
Yeah.
hey, he did it on the ground, had a big catch, threw a touchdown. I'm like, boy, he was in his bag.
Yep.
He was deep in the bag.
He was locked in, bro. He really single-handedly should have won in the game.
Honestly,
Yeah.
yeah.
Them safeties need to write him a nice long apology letter immediately.
Bro, they
I
was
don't
out there
know how-
getting cooked, bro.
Bro,
They was out there getting cooked, bro.
it really takes me out, bro. If y'all watch the game on that 4th and 13 last play, how do you let somebody get behind you? Like literally,
Bruh,
I don't know who.
y'all supposed to be standing in the end zone, bro.
Exactly. Hey, it's 4th and 13 with no
Prevent.
time. It's like a little bit of time left on the clock. Come on now, that's elementary. Get back. Get back.
So based on the outcome of the game, do y'all think that Arizona State belongs, or do you think that Texas played down to its competition?
Well, I will say, because y'all were talking about it a little bit earlier, but Texas had a 16-point lead in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It really should have been over. Like Texas let them back in the game.
what I'm saying.
If we're being honest, Texas
For
was
sure.
up 16 in the fourth. Like you shouldn't let a team come back in that situation up 16. Now with Quinn Ewers at quarterback, you still getting the opportunity to get the ball back. Like you got to close out that game. So I think from that aspect, Texas did play down, but Arizona State showed that fight. They showed that dog. So
Yeah.
I mean, I think you can look at it both ways and say that kind of went either way.
For sure. And I see that Wisner only had 45 yards, so Texas wasn't able to establish a run. I think the difference between the Clemson game and this game is like the boys Blue and Wisner was able to run all over Clemson, but now they weren't able to, put up 100 yards on rushing. So I think they try to put it in Quinn Ewers' hands to go win. And after that ugly interception, I think everybody in Texas got tight. So yeah.
And that's what I was saying, bro. Clemson could have beat them too. Like I said, if we had learned how to stop the run like Arizona State did, I thought Texas was going to be a juggernaut in this playoffs, and they're showing me each and every week is not the case for them.
Hey, but listen, they finding a way to win.
Yeah.
Remember, we go back to one of the early episodes. We were talking about which first round team could possibly win it all.
Yeah.
I mean, Texas right there. They in prime position. We're gonna see what they do next game, but they still there. They still fighting.
In my personal opinion, I think it catches up to them sooner rather than later, and I think it's coming soon.
We're gonna see.
We're gonna discuss it. We're gonna discuss it.
But look though, when they play Georgia, they show up. When they play big teams, they pretty much show up.
Yeah.
They pretty much show up when they play big teams. So we gonna see.
And the good thing about Texas, I will give them this last thing. They score quick. They score very quickly on offense. They don't do a lot of time. So
before, like, from these next two games, will we see Arch Manning at quarterback at any point?
there's potential. Because like we have said earlier, Quinn is up, and then sometimes he's down. He makes some questionable plays. I think that Arch, depending on the scenario in the game, he could come in and give them a spark if needed. That's all I'm gonna say.
They always have packages for him because he's the bigger quarterback. He can run a little bit better than Quinn. So they usually always have a few plays for him.
Yep.
So from that standpoint, yes, he probably will come in at quarterback.
Yeah.
But as far as like taking over for Quinn, maybe if he throws a couple picks, probably, and it's early in the game, maybe. But if Quinn is throwing touchdowns and throwing picks, I think they're gonna leave Quinn in there. He might have 3 touchdowns and 2 picks. Yeah, we're gonna leave Quinn in there.
Yeah. Yeah, and then my thing is now I know that everybody's saying Arch is a better quarterback, but I wouldn't throw him in the playoff semifinal. At least Quinn's been there before. Like Quinn understands.
I'll also add too, though, because like I was talking with my brother about this, but like Quinn Ewers announced that he was coming back the year before or this season.
Yeah,
Arch was supposed to be the starting quarterback. If Quinn didn't announce that he was coming back, Arch would have been right there in that position. So, I mean, I think from his perspective, he's probably ready. He's probably itching. I'm sure there's a lot of noise around Texas about him needing to be the starting quarterback or wanting to be the starting quarterback. So I'm sure he's ready. I'm sure he's prepared for the situation if it ever came up. I think, if they had a situation like Georgia had and he was asked to step up, I think he'll be ready and prepared.
For sure.
I agree.
Cool. So let's go to the real moving hand game, the game that happened last night at the Rose Bowl. Number 8 Ohio State dominated number 1 Oregon 41-21, and I feel like the final score was closer than what the actual game was. Will Howard threw for 319 yards for 3 touchdowns. Travion Henderson had 8 carries, 94 yards for 2 touchdowns. But the star was Jeremiah Smith, the freshman, has 7 receptions for 187 yards and 2 touchdowns. And he could have had 3, but they took him out at the end. What's y'all's boys' thoughts on this game? This one definitely blew my mind, but I think Ohio State, after that Tennessee game, they're definitely the team to beat to me in the playoff. What y'all think?
Yeah. First, I want to say this. There was 2 move your hand games this week, but we'll discuss the next one right after this. But I also said this last week, second point. I said if somebody had to be a man this week, I don't know what we called it, put the cape on. I don't remember what we called the segment last week. But I said, Jeremiah Smith, you got to be a man. And boy, did he listen to the podcast because he put the cape on. I mean, routing them boys up. I mean, I texted one of my old coworkers, and I was like, he an Oregon fan. I said, yeah, this is grown man versus little boys. It's not even close. It's like, go get it. And he was like, say less. But this is my thing, man. All year, Jeremiah Smith has been doing this. Since he came into fall camp, they were like, this kid is a dog. We've never seen a freshman play like this in practice. Never seen a freshman practice like this. And when he got into the games, he continued to do the same things. It didn't matter the opponent. It didn't matter the moment. He's continued to show up. And in the biggest moment, this past playoff game, boy, did he do it. Boy, did he do it.
Early. Got straight to it.
And often, bro. And Oregon made no adjustments to try to stop this man. I guess I don't know if it was pride. I don't know what it was. But clearly, you couldn't stop him one-on-one. And then you never put nobody to double him. So it was like, please continue to take your belt off, sir. That's what they were saying, essentially. Like, we don't understand it. And so Jeremiah Smith said, surely.
I'm not learning.
I don't understand this yet. Clearly, I haven't learned my lesson. I put my hand back on the hot stove. And Jeremiah Smith said, say less. I'm gonna show you something real quick, young bull. And yeah, man, it got ugly early. It was what, 21-0? I think it got like 28-0 or 24-0, something crazy. And I was like, yikes, this is really bad.
It was 34-8 going in the half.
And they got that touchdown right before the half.
Yeah, they did. Okay, I remember that.
They got that touchdown right before the half.
It was, whew, it got real bad, man. It got real bad. Shout out to Ohio State. One of my current coworkers is a big Ohio State fan, and he texted me and was like, boy, I feel great right now. I said, I know you do. I know you do. Earlier in the season, Oregon had beat Ohio State. Close, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah. And so for now, for them to come back and blow them boys out like this, I agree with Collin, man. It's going to be tough for somebody to beat Ohio State. Especially if Jeremiah Smith continues to play the way that he has been playing. and I foresee him to continue to do that. I don't know who they play next.
Texas.
But, they already had DB troubles. That's not good for Texas.
Hey, they got the boy from Clemson though, Andrew
Makuba. He plays safety.
Yeah.
He a safety, not corner. He a safety.
Well,
so unless he's back there deep,
he better provide some help over the top.
I'm telling you. But like I said, when they played Clemson first round, that we was picking on their corners. It got bad towards the end of the game. They couldn't stop nothing in the air. And Makuba was out there then. Yesterday, Makuba getting called on. He caught the game-winning pick. He caught the game-winning pick. He did. So Makuba's a dog. I'm not taking anything away from Makuba. The issue is the corners. There's a step before you get to Makuba. So it's like, all right, what you gonna do with this one-on-one? I'm about to give you some crazy work off the line and be out. So it's like, yeah, we'll talk about it.
I ain't gonna lie, like I know we're giving a lot of love to Jeremiah Smith, but I also want to shout out Caleb Downs because that man was all over the field. Definitely had 2 picks that he should have had, but he is like the free safety. I think if him and Jeremiah came out this year, they definitely would have been in the top 5. My personal opinion. And I think honestly, everybody's giving Ohio State a lot of flack because they lost to Michigan, but I think the loss to Michigan actually propelled this because I think if they don't lose to Michigan, they probably getting bounced. So I think that Michigan loss definitely added fuel to the fire. So I just see them boys flying around and hitting people. It's just like, yeah, they motivated. They got a why. I know what you think.
Did y'all see the quote that Jeremiah had said earlier in the week before the game, talking about if they play man,
I missed it.
Get cooked. Hey, he showed up and showed out, man. Another big performance by him. Will Howard played good. So we gonna see what they do, man. They showed up and showed out. Yeah. I definitely didn't expect them to smack Oregon how they did. I thought it was gonna be a closer game, but they took care of business. And I also didn't realize that Jeremiah Smith was that big. 6'3", 215. Like that's good size, bro. If he put on about 10 more pounds, bro.
This is the thing. He don't have to put on 10 more pounds. He really don't.
He don't. He don't. But if he did,
if he put on 10 more pounds, he's DK Metcalf already.
Grown man, really a grown man,
bro. He's league ready as a freshman.
Bro, they had put up his comparisons during the game. It was like Julio Jones and Terrell Owens. I said, oh my gosh.
What crazy comps as a freshman? 18 years old national comp.
As a freshman.
He got 2 more years.
I haven't been watching much of Ohio State this year, but why didn't he get more Heisman votes? Has he been doing the same performance all season? I mean, I've heard it
like that all year. Because they got a plethora of weapons, in all honesty, but he's the best weapon, clearly. But I don't know his full season stats, but I know they have, like I said, a plethora of weapons they get the ball to. They got Judd Kent, they got the tight end. They still got another top, 5 type. Well, he will be top 5 in this draft. Wide receivers. I forgot Zoom. I forgot number 2. Yeah, so there are a lot of guys, that they got to get the ball to, but Jeremiah Smith, like I said, since day one, he's shown like, yeah, that's cool. But let me show you something real quick. So, yeah, he's like that for sure.
So about Oregon, do you think that this was just rust from having a month off with the bye? Like I know Oregon had to play 8 straight conference games plus the conference championship, and some people are saying they got the short end of the stick with the draw having to play the winner Ohio State, Tennessee, while an organization like Penn State had to go through SMU and Boise State. So do you think it was just the bad luck of the draw, or do you just think that Ohio State was just clearly the better team?
I think people like to make excuses, bro. Me personally, because like I say this all the time, bro. This is the playoffs. So, like, you shouldn't need a pep talk. You shouldn't need none of that. And if anything, you're the more rested team. So, like, forget all the noise of, like, oh, you had a month off. Like, that helps you, in my personal opinion. Like, some people are like, oh, talk about rust and this like that. But at the end of the day, you know what time it is. And you played the team before. So, you know their tendencies. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's either are you going to be a man or you're not going to be a man. Like, that's literally, for me, that's what it comes down to. That's what it comes down to. And clearly, yesterday they just couldn't get it done. So I don't want to hear no excuses, man. I don't want to hear no excuses.
And see, that's my argument, because I'm like, in the NFL, this happens all the time where a wild card team will just get hot and they beat a team that everybody was expecting to get to the conference championships. You just got to be ready. I think that regardless of the team, it could have happened to anybody. I mean, Ohio State obviously was the buzzsaw in this playoff, but I mean, like if you didn't come out to be prepared versus any of these teams that advanced, you could have lost the same way. So you just had to be ready.
That's facts.
I know what you think.
I agree with y'all. I really think they just got hit in the mouth. Like they weren't ready because, like, you look at it, the first game, it was basically a shootout. Like both teams was going back and forth. Like they literally just got punched in the mouth. Like they offense couldn't do nothing, defense couldn't do nothing. I'm just like, yo, like y'all clearly wasn't ready for this game. Like whatever the case may be, the rest, whatever. Say what you want, but you gotta be ready to play in that situation.
Yeah, I agree.
Hey, Collin, hold on. Before we move on, can we go back real quick? Because last week you was talking about the line for this game, for this Oregon game. And you was talking about how they was gonna use it as motivation. Dan Leonard was gonna use it as motivation. I don't think that happened, brother.
See, you're right. And I knew you're going to bring that up. And they definitely pissed down their leg. And it's okay because I was like, after the first quarter, I was like, yeah, it's over. But I think, personally, I thought Dan Leonard was going to use it as motivation. But at the end of the day, I think that what tonight showed you, well, what last night showed you is that talent and the roster overcomes any kind of preparations when it comes to drive. Like that, the storyline goes out the window when it comes to talent. Like, Jeremiah Smith's on the outside. There's just nothing you can do. They have nobody to match that. So,
yeah,
I thought Oregon was going to use it as motivation, but motivation didn't matter when it came to Ohio State's roster. So,
and a follow-up question for y'all. We were talking about it a couple episodes ago about Ryan Day. Do y'all think his job is safe now? You think he good, or you think he got to win it all?
No, I think his job is safe, bro. I think his job is safe. I think Oregon's a big rival for them. And so you beating your rival in the playoffs, that for him saved his job. Whether he wins the championship now or not, his job is going to be safe for next season just because of that. Now, of course, next season the questions will come arise again. Okay, when you can win it all, but for now, that did it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, they can't wet the bed. Like they can't go into Texas and then like get manhandled. Like they at least need to make it to the national championship because everybody up here cares about that Michigan game more than anything. And I think if they keep, trailblazing all the way to the national championship and lose, I think he gets a lot more slack. But if he goes and lays an egg with Texas, they're definitely he's going to be the headline. So what you think? You think he's off the hook?
Yeah, I think he should be good. Of course, you always want to win it all as a coach and as a program, but I think he's done enough to keep his job. I don't really think, like, yes, they've looked the best, but like I don't think anybody's like Ohio State has to win it all.
Yeah,
I don't think that's the case. So we'll see. I think, like we mentioned before, it's wide open. So we'll see. It's definitely wide open now. So
yeah.
For sure. That's a great transition to the last game, man. This is the other movie and hanging game, like John said. This game literally just finished. Had number 7 Notre Dame going against number 2 Georgia. Number 7 Notre Dame defeated Georgia 23-10. Riley Leonard had only 90 yards, but he had a touchdown and he had 80 rushing yards. Meanwhile, Gunnar Stockton had 234 yards for 1 touchdown. Trevor Etienne had 11 carries for 38 yards. Hundo, I'll get it started with you, man. How do you feel about your team, and what is the state of Georgia right now?
Man, that game was over when Kirby Smart decided to be aggressive and throw the ball instead of running the ball. He literally admitted it right after it all happened. Going into halftime, they interviewed him. He was like, "Yeah, we were just trying to be aggressive, and it came back to bite. All he had to do was run the ball, go into halftime 6-3. Instead, quarterback gets sacked, fumbles the ball. Notre Dame scores a touchdown, 13-3 at halftime instead. So, and then you come back in the second half to start it off. let them return a kick for the touchdown. It's just like one, what were y'all saying in halftime? And two, how do y'all let them turn around and just return a kick like that to start the second half? So it was over after that. I thought that Gunnar Stockton played solid. Like you said, you just read off the numbers, over 200 yards. And the fumble that he had really wasn't on him. The left tackle got beat off the edge. That was the second time he had got beat on back-to-back drives. He had just gave up a pressure the drive before. And doggone, he got pulled right after that. Granted, they put him back in later. But, yeah, I thought it was over after that kick return for the touchdown. And, see what happened, man. Going in next year. We're going to see.
Yeah. After Carson went down, I told Hundo, I said, listen, I didn't have faith in Carson. So I really didn't have no faith in a dude I didn't know named Gunnar. So, I mean, I think a lot happens when you lose your starting quarterback. And that's whether your starting quarterback is good or whether he's sorry. Like, if he's been leading your team all year and he goes down, like, your team like, changes. I know you can practice all week, but it's like it's still different. You know what I'm saying? So coming to this game with that young man, it's like he had a lot of prep time, but it's still like this is the biggest game you ever played in your entire life, and this has to be the game that you got to start. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't like have a ease in game. Like you had to come straight in and like this game means everything. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of pressure on him. Shout out to the young man for trying his best. Offensive line was getting cooked, like Hundo said. So I mean, it really didn't even matter too much to be honest to what he was doing so much in his throwing. He had no time a lot of the time when he was back there. I didn't expect Notre Dame to come out and play them as good as they played them. I thought that they had a chance to win. And I honestly thought Georgia could still pull it out with Gunnar, but that was quickly turned around when I saw the way that they were playing. So, man, shout out Notre Dame. It's really, really interesting. It'll be interesting next round to see if they can continue this gameplay.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, they won the game, but I don't think they necessarily played good. It was really like self-inflicted. A good bit of it was self-inflicted, especially before the half. And then the second half, they kind of just controlled the game. They were able to run the ball. I think Leonard is a crazy threat with his legs, but he didn't even have over 100 passing yards.
Yeah, so I like crazy threat, but I mean he was good running the ball tonight.
He's dynamic running the ball, bro. Like even Kirby said that, bro. Like, come on, bro.
What did Kirby say? I'm sorry.
He said he's dynamic as a runner, bro.
I think we got to work on adjectives, but once again, that's just me. That's just me.
That's real. Because I mean, I feel like in the context, like Jalen Milroe was a better running quarterback when they played Alabama, but I feel like tonight was really a story about the lines because Notre Dame was getting a pass rush, and I'm like, Georgia, y'all supposed to have dogs on the offensive line, and they were just
exactly,
bro. And the crazy thing is, they were missing their top defensive lineman. That's what made it even worse.
Yeah,
I'm like, bro, they're without their best defensive lineman, bro, and y'all are still letting them do what they want, bro.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, dog.
And definitely extending our prayers to the families of those who lost a family member during that terrorist attack that happened last night.
Yeah.
It was up to 15 people. Man, I don't know what to say, man, especially with people trying to just enjoy just being down there, enjoy the New Year, wake up to the news like that. I can't even imagine, man. So I don't want to, create any excuses, but do you think that the change to making it a day later affected the teams at all? Rondo?
I think like John said earlier, and definitely like different circumstances, of course, but like you gotta be ready to play. Like you make adjustments, you make tweaks to your schedule, your routine a little bit, but I think Kirby had them guys ready to go. I don't think they were, I guess, too fazed by it, but of course, you never know. But
yeah,
I think you just gotta be ready to play in that situation and move forward, and
for sure.
Be out there ready to compete.
Yeah. What's your thoughts, Sean?
Yeah, I mean, I agree, bro. I mean, my thing is if something would have affected UGA, it would have also affected Notre Dame because they're playing in the same place, same time. So it's like I can't give you a pass. If one team's ready to play and the other team's not, that's kind of y'all. Like I said, be a man. You gotta be a man, bro. Like once again, yeah, circumstances. I understand the circumstances are absolutely horrific. You know what I'm saying? But you gotta do what you gotta do. So yeah.
Yeah. So, with that, next week we'll have the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic. Texas is going to be playing Ohio State in Texas. Ohio State is actually our early 6-point favorite. And then after that game, you have, actually, the day before, you have the Capital One Orange Bowl. Penn State is going to be playing Notre Dame. Who's y'all's early favorites out of those four? Do y'all have a who's y'all's national champion out of that semifinal?
I think it's going to be Ohio State, Penn State for the national championship. I believe that the line is early 6.5-point favorite because of Jeremiah Smith in the Texas game, and I believe that Penn State will beat. Man, you just said it too.
Notre Dame.
Yeah, I think they're gonna beat Notre Dame. I just don't foresee Riley Leonard be able to be dynamic running the ball again. I think they're going to rely on somebody else, man. I don't know. It'll be interesting, intriguing for sure, but I think that they have a good team. Notre Dame is a good team. I want to see Jordan Love get the ball some more. I think he had a good first round game against I don't know where they played. They blew him out, but he had a good first round game against them, and so I want to see him play some more. I want to see that defense, see if they can lock back in and get. I don't know the injury status of that defensive player that they were missing. If he'll be able to go for the next game, but I think that they need all hands on deck to play this Penn State team because they're hot right now. So yeah, that's my early favorites of the national championship.
Do you foresee any more move your hand games for the rest of the playoff, John?
I don't, bro. I think right now it's time to be man versus man, bro. I don't foresee another move your hand game. If there is one, I'll wait to the next episode to give my speculation. I'll wait.
I know. What's your thoughts?
I think to start for that Notre Dame and Penn State game, both teams have pretty good defenses. Notre Dame's a little bit banged up right now. Jeremiah Love, he did get banged up against Georgia. He had like a knee brace on him. So that's why he was a little bit limited today. But we'll see how that impacts him moving forward. But if he's able to go and he can be 80%, if not 100%, I think that'll be a good matchup. I think it'll be low scoring. Because like I said, both teams have a pretty good defense, pretty great defense. So we'll see. I think Riley Leonard definitely have to use his legs and try to be dynamic, as John says, that he can't be. So we'll see. But I think I'm leaning towards Notre Dame in that matchup. I think they'll do a better job stopping the run than previous teams against that Penn State played against. So Drew's going to definitely have to make some plays throwing the ball, but I like Notre Dame in that matchup. And then on the other side, I feel like that game could go also either way. Ohio State is definitely the hot team right now. Texas has been playing down the competition, but I think they'll be up for the challenge. I'm gonna go with Texas, man, because of the Arch Manning situation. Like we talked about, if Quinn Ewers does start to struggle, they have arguably the best backup quarterback in the country that they can put in and try to make something happen. So I'm gonna go with Texas. I know y'all talked about Jeremiah Smith and how he's a man, how he's a grown man, how he's him. But I'm gonna go with Texas in that matchup, man. So we're gonna see.
Yeah, for sure.
What you think, Collin?
I'm actually gonna lean towards Ohio State, man. I think Texas is gonna overcorrect looking at the Oregon-Ohio State game, and they're gonna try to go out on the perimeter and get Jeremiah Smith. I can see a lot of double teams, but they still got Judkins and Henderson, and so I think up the middle there's going to be a lot of runs, big runs, and I think Ohio State pulls it out late. I think the -6 is a good estimate because I think Ohio State wins by a touchdown, and I actually got Notre Dame in that Orange Bowl. I just feel like Notre Dame, man, they just rallying at the right time, and I think even with Riley Leonard, I've not seen Penn State versus a mobile quarterback. And like Hundo said, I got to use the adjectives lightly because, I mean, he's capable of moving, but I don't know in terms of their system if Penn State is able to handle that. And I know that they said Abdul Carter was questionable, so we'll see his status game time. So I got.
Hey, y'all better go look at Riley Leonard tape at Duke, man. That man's a dog. Stop playing with him. Put some respect on his name. Go ahead. Continue on.
I hear you. That's nice. But yeah, I got Ohio State, Notre Dame, and we'll get into the championship predictions later. So this is actually the first playoff where there will be a first-time national championship head coach. So you obviously have Marcus Freeman, James Franklin, Steve Sarkisian, and Ryan Day. So do you think that this is the end of an era in terms of like your Kirby Smarts going back-to-back in dynasties? And I know Kirby was saying earlier in the season that with the NIL and transfer portal, it's hard for him to maintain depth, and they don't have those 4 stars anymore because they're going to other schools. So do you think that this is the end of the era for like your Dabos and Kirbys that are going back-to-back multiple years?
I think, man, the way this new playoff format is set up, in addition to the transfer portal, man, it's really hard for teams to kind of set and build dynasties. Because like you said, it's always going to be somebody that can pay your players some money somewhere. It's always going to be like, once again, somebody can get hot, you know what I'm saying, at the right time. So it's a lot more factors now versus when, you got your Nick Sabans, your Kirby. Those guys got to play 12 games, win the championship game for the conference, and then you go straight to the, natty, or straight to the first round of playoffs, and you got another game. Like now you got 2-3 games you got to play, and it's like, there's a lot to keep up with. So I think it's harder. I think there, in time, there will be some adjustments and some moves that can be made so that you can potentially start to see those things happen again. But I don't think that it's going to be right away. I think for the next probably 3 to 4 years, we'll probably have a different champion.
Yeah, I know what you think.
Yeah, I agree with what John said. I think it's definitely harder nowadays to repeat. And I think you see that in like multiple sports, like not just college football, but I mean, I guess UConn did it in college basketball, but even then, like they're not looking like themselves this year. But I think NIL and transfer portal definitely play a factor. But I would ask y'all too, like, what role do y'all think the NIL and transfer portal plays in like the being prepared for these type of games? Because players can transfer before the game and really mess you up, because Penn State didn't have their backup quarterback who's known for running the ball. And now you got Drew out there trying to run the ball and do read options. It's not looking the same. So like, what are y'all thoughts on that?
Man, Collin, if you want to start first, you can. But this new age of teams having to deal with transfer portal and their players potentially leaving, man, you gotta think about that kind of stuff when you're recruiting. You gotta think about that kind of stuff when you're looking into the portal yourself. It's a new day. It's a new age, man, and it's like I said, it's gonna take some teams and some coaches. It's gonna take a lot for people, I think, to like get a grasp on this, because like I said, if I'm not liking my playing time, I can tell them I'm transferring. Even from getting some playing time in a package for like an Arch Manning, for instance. If he doesn't like it, the text number, he can always just say I'm leaving and go get money and go somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's always that chance and that opportunity for these kids nowadays. And so it's something that you have to deal with as a school and as a program, trying to constantly build and fight against that. So it's going to take a few years, I think, for people to kind of get a grasp on that. So I think that's always going to be an issue for at least the next probably 4 to 5 years.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think they're going to have to change kind of the dates in terms of when you can transfer and when you can't, because I'm just thinking of the situation you pointed out, Hundo, with Penn State. Like one injury in the Notre Dame game, you're screwed. Your season's screwed just because he's gone. And so I think that for the sake of having a great playoff, it's just going to be important to have all this activity happen after the season. I don't mind it, because I think it can also have a positive effect where you have some of these like lower level guys auditioning during the playoffs to try to, bolster up their revenue that they'll get in the off season. So I just think it's just pros and cons, but really the biggest problem is just that it happens right before the playoff. And it's like, there's a lot of chaos that happens because you have teams trying to poach, from outside the playoffs. But I think even in the playoffs, like you imagine like Ohio State, Oregon, I can't imagine the tampering that's happened during that game where you're down 30 points and Oregon's like, why don't you just come over? Well, Ohio State's like, why don't you? So I just think it needs to be more well structured and defined in terms of deadlines.
Brett said, "Come join the winning team."
Right.
Thanks.
Yeah, so let's transition over to the NFL, man. John, I'll let you take over talking about the playoff implications this week. Big
For
week.
sure, man. Yeah, this is the end of the NFL season. It's week 18, bro, and so it's only a couple games that really have playoff implications in the AFC and the NFC. I'll start with the AFC first because those games come up on Saturday. It's only really two spots, and the potential third is up for grabs. The number one seed's been locked down. Number two seed's been locked down. The third seed, which is the Ravens currently, is up for grabs. The Ravens play the Browns on Saturday for a chance to win the division. If they win the division, they get the 3 seed. And if they lose, then the Steelers get opportunity to clinch the division and take the 3 seed from them. And they're currently the 5 seed. The Houston Texans have already secured the 4 seed by winning the AFC South. So that one's up, not up for grabs. So the only thing that's really up for grabs is really the 3 seed and then the potential last seed, which would be the 7th seed. So the Broncos are currently the 7th seed in the AFC, but they play – who y'all play Saturday or Sunday this week?
Chiefs.
The Chiefs. So the Chiefs, they beat the Chiefs. They're in the playoffs. They get the 7th seed. They lose against the Chiefs. Then that opens a whole other can of worms because now you got the Bengals that could potentially go in there. The Dolphins could potentially go in there. So it's really going to be an interesting weekend, I think, in the AFC and the NFC. The NFC more so because the 1 seed is up for grab in that conference. So it's a big, huge matchup between the Vikings and the Lions this upcoming week. I think that's Sunday Night Football, if I'm not mistaken, as it should be, because that's a huge matchup with huge implications. The Philly is locked up to 2 seed. 3 seed's been locked up by the Rams, if I'm not mistaken. 4 seed has been locked up by the Bucks, and then the 5, 6, and 7, I believe, are also locked up. I think the Falcons have one chance to potentially get the 4 seed if they beat I think they play the Bucks this week, or they play somebody.
They play the Bucks play the Saints.
Okay, right. So if the Bucks beat the Saints, then they get the 4 seed. They lose to the Saints, then the Falcons have an opportunity to come in and steal the 4 seed, which I think would kick the Bucks out of the playoffs, low key. Yeah. So the NFC has that. I think they have a bigger implications just because everything hasn't been fully shut down yet. But I said the biggest one for me, my personal opinion, is the NFC number 1 seed is up for grabs, man. You can move potentially from 1 down to, I think, 5, or you can go from 5 to 1, depending on who wins that game Sunday night. And they both have the same record currently. So this game determines who's going to have home field advantage in the NFC playoffs. So it's a huge matchup between the Lions and the Vikings this week. So I don't know if you want to talk winners, but I was just wanted to talk just wanted to see what y'all thoughts were in regards to really just that matchup. I'm not really too intrigued by the other matchups in the AFC, in all honesty with you. I think the Ravens are going to crush the Browns. Now, we lost to the Browns this year, so it's not a gimme game, but Jameis Winston's not the starting quarterback. They're starting Bailey Zappi against us. We're currently 19.5-point favorites to win the game, which is insane. It's an insane line. I'm not going to lie to y'all. So Ravens fan, if we lose to Bailey Zappi on Saturday, I'm going to have some very choice words on this podcast next week. I'm going to tell you that right now. And I'm a man of God, you know what I'm saying? But I'm going to have some very choice words on the Ravens next week if we lose to the Browns come Saturday.
Hey, question for you, John. So say y'all win, right?
Yeah.
And then the Steelers and Bengals play after y'all, right?
Yeah.
Do the Steelers play their starters if y'all win that game?
I think that they would, because the Bengals are trying to make the playoffs. And so if they lose against the Bengals, I think they split, something to that effect.
Well, so the biggest thing is with the AFC, if the Steelers lose, then right now the Steelers would be playing the Texans. And so
right.
But if they lose, they would be the 6, right?
They play and they'll play us. Yeah. So it's really, I think they kind of have to play their starters, because once again, you don't want. First of all, you probably don't want Joe Burrow in the playoffs. That's one. And two, do you want to play Texans? You want to play Ravens again? So it's like, now I'm not saying that they're scared, but let's be honest. I think they probably want to play Houston in that first round because it'd be a much easier game for them and Mike. And the Steelers have been struggling. They've lost the past 3 games. So I think they also at the end they want to have something to prove because you don't want to go into the playoffs on a 4-game losing streak. That would be absolutely insane. So you know what I'm saying? I think that they have to play their starters this week. And once again, we know that the Bengals are going to play their starters and be playing their hardest because they're trying to get into the playoffs. So I think both teams are good. That's going to be the most interesting game of Saturday because that game has more playoff implication and more to lose for the loser. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting, man. I'm excited to see what happens in that game. I'm really excited, like I said, to see what happens on Sunday night between the Lions and the Vikings game. And I think those two to be the biggest 2 matchups of the weekend. If y'all want to choose winners, we can. It doesn't matter to me.
As a Broncos fan, man, I just need the Steelers to win, and I need the Dolphins to somehow lose to the. I think they're playing the Jets. I just need them to lose because clearly the Broncos don't win it. Clearly they don't. So
yeah, that's another thing, man. If y'all lose this weekend, y'all out the playoffs. Like y'all out the playoffs. It's crazy. So
hey, that's why I need everybody else to lose.
Y'all have an early dark horse in the AFC and NFC
for the playoffs.
Yeah,
dark horse. I don't think there's going to be a dark horse for the AFC at least. I think the teams that are going to be top are going to be the top ones. So in my personal opinion, here's what's going to happen this upcoming weekend for the AFC playoff picture. Of course, you already got the first, let's say 2 already locked in with the Chiefs and the Bills at 1 and 2. I think we'll go ahead and smack the Browns. We'll take 3. 4 is already the Texans. 5 will be, I think Pittsburgh will wind up pulling out. Are they home this weekend? I don't think they was home this weekend. Let me check and see. If they're home, I think they win. It'll be close, but I think they'll win at home. So they'll go ahead and keep the 5, send the Chargers to the 6, and then the Broncos better beat the Chiefs. Like, Patrick Mahomes is not playing this week. He has nothing to play for. So Patrick Mahomes is not playing. They're going to rest all their starters. So they have no reason to lose that game. So Broncos should be 7. When you ask about dark horse, I don't think that the Broncos are going to win in the playoffs or anything. They're not going to beat the Bills in that first round. I don't think that the Chargers are going to beat us in the first round. And I don't think that the Texans are going to beat the Steelers first round. So the next round after that, we'll see what happens. But I don't think there are any dark horses in the AFC. The NFC, different story. The teams are a lot closer in regards to like the way that they're playing ball right now. So that conference may have a dark horse. Like I said, I'll have to see what happens Sunday night between the Vikings and the Lions to tell you that. So that's my personal opinion. Sorry it took a long time.
Yeah, I agree with John. I don't really think it's a dark horse in the AFC. I don't see any like upsets or nothing taking place in the first round. Probably not the second. And then in the NFC, yeah, it's a little bit closer. But I also think that the NFC, like the top teams are pretty much stand out between the Lions, the Vikings, and Eagles. I think there's a gap between those 3 teams and everybody else. But granted, like John said, I think any of those teams, like the Rams, they could possibly upset somebody. Commanders could possibly upset somebody. So I'm definitely keeping my eyes on those 2 teams just because with their offenses, especially the Rams, like they can put up 40 points as we saw against the Bills.
Yeah,
they can put up a lot of points. So we'll see. I want to see them in full form, playing at their best to see what they can really do. But we'll see.
Yeah, I agree. I don't have a dark horse in the AFC. If I had to pick one, I would say watch out for the Chargers, but the Chargers don't have enough weapons to beat any of the contenders. I think in the NFC though, I would just say watch out for the Packers because what we didn't expect Jordan Love to do what he did last year, even though it was the Cowboys. But I think them teams even though they're young, they got experience. And I think they lost the last 2 games, but I still trust Matt LaFleur. And I think if it was a Lions-Packers or a Lions-Vikings conference championship, I could see the Packers moving on. So
Yeah, man. That's all I got for ends. Oh, let me say this last thing before we end up the pod tonight, man. First of all, shout out to all the viewers. Shout out to y'all in the comments on YouTube, TikTok. Man, y'all been all over the comments, man. And more specifically, I've been in the comments of me and Hundo's debate of MVP. And that's nothing I was going to say this weekend is that Lamar Jackson has the opportunity to go ahead and lock up his third MVP this weekend. As much as, there's been so much flack and hate and this and that, but he has the opportunity to lock up that third MVP this weekend as long as he has a great game against the Browns on Saturday, man. I don't know if Josh is going. He has nothing to play for this weekend, so I don't think they're going to play Josh on Sunday. He might rest. So it'll be quite interesting to see what happens with the MVP race. And man, y'all keep up in the comments. I love it. If anybody wants to debate me anytime, I'm here. I ain't never ducking smoke. I'm a grown man. So y'all let me know what the topic is, and I'm ready to get after it. So yeah, let's get straight to it, man.
Go do your research, John.
Hey, my research is already done. I give nothing but facts. You may not like the facts that you hear, but they facts nonetheless. And if you want me to go do more research and get more facts for you, it's not going to end well for you. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Hey, John said it went in one ear, out the other ear.
Listen,
you just ain't want to hear the facts.
You just didn't want to hear them, bro. I'm telling you. I gave you nothing but facts. And this is the thing about the people that were in the comments, bro. Like, they were making my point for me. Like, it was some comments like, oh, give the guy to the MVP who chokes every year. And I'm like, okay, if that is your argument, then you also cannot give it to Josh Allen because he has also not won anything. So you're saying you want to give it to Pat Mahomes? Like, what are we arguing here? Then the other young man said, do research. I'm like, okay, young man. I could have continued to go on and say, yes, Lamar Jackson is having statistically, once again, and outside of the statistics, he has the highest quarterback rating of all time for a quarterback. He has the opportunity to do that, ending the season this week. So it's like, with that, everyone else who has done that has won the MVP. So you're helping me once again make my argument even stronger. So it's like, what do we want to have a conversation about here? But like I said, man, I love the comments. I read them all. They send them in the chat to me. I promise you, I have no issues debating with y'all, talking with y'all. Let's just keep respectful. Let's keep respectful. I love y'all.
Let's go ahead and transition to the Pro Bowl. So the Pro Bowl rosters were announced. I'll briefly go through it. So starting at the quarterbacks, we had in the NFC, Jaden Daniels, Sam Darnold, Jared Goff. AFC, we had Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson. How do y'all feel about the quarterbacks? I know we had an intense conversation last week. Do you think there was any snubs in quarterbacks?
Name me the NFC quarterbacks again, please.
Jaden Daniels, Sam Darnold, Jared Goff.
Okay. Yeah. I don't see any snubs for the NFC. Off the top of my head, no. I think Jalen Hurts made a good argument this year to also be a Pro Bowl quarterback. Outside of that, I don't think that they missed anybody else. I think Sam is a surprise for a lot of people because I think he was injured for a little bit of time, if I'm not mistaken. And so I think that but he's had a great season because he has had a great season. So I mean, the numbers that he's put up this year in the NFC have been dominant in that conference. So I'm happy that he made a Pro Bowl, man. He was labeled as a bust for a long time because he just didn't pan out for the first half of his career. And so to see him now flourishing in Minnesota this season, man, it's pretty dope to see. I didn't see any snubs on the NFC side. AFC side also didn't see any snubs. People are going to say, oh, Pat Mahomes didn't make it, and he has the best record in the AFC. But if you look at past numbers, they're not great. So, I mean, I don't see any snubs quarterback-wise in the AFC. I don't think they missed anybody. You said Joe Burrow, right?
Yeah, Joe Burrow in the AFC. Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Lamar.
Best three quarterbacks in the conference. So, yeah, I don't see anybody we're missing.
All right. I know you had any thoughts on that.
We were talking about it a little bit before, before we just started recording, just about like the criteria of it all. And I guess like my only question is like on the NFC side with the quarterbacks, you got Jordan Love, Baker Mayfield. I mean, do they deserve to be in over Jaden Daniels? I mean, I think you can make a case for that, but I just wonder what the criteria is for it. Like, is it stats? Is it record? Like what is it? Fan vote? I don't know. But that's probably like the only thing that I could think of. Maybe somebody replacing Jaden Daniels, but I'm not mad at the pick.
I think fan voting plays a part into it for one, and I think if I'm not mistaken, that the players also get a say so in that, or the coaches, one of the two of them. So I think between that and the fan voting, that's why I'm not like mad at the players that made it in on either side of quarterback or any position that I've seen so far, because it's like those players made the most noise this year. Jaden Daniels came in and shocked the NFL. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was praising Caleb Williams coming into the year and expected him to be where Jaden is. And Jaden came in and showed out with the Washington Commanders. You know what I'm saying? Really turned the whole franchise around in 1 year. So I don't see an issue with him being voted as a Pro Bowler in his first year, because the numbers speak for themselves and his play speak for itself. So, yeah.
Hey, quick side question. Who had a better rookie season, Jaden Daniels this year or CJ Stroud last year?
Ooh, that's tough. That's tough because they both came in and changed their franchises in 1 year. They both franchises were terrible even before they got there, and they came in 1 year and led both their franchises to a playoff. Now it's going to be interesting because Jaden, if you want to keep up, CJ Stroud won his first playoff game against the Colts last year. So Jaden's going to have to win his first playoff game to match up to where CJ Stroud got to. If he doesn't, it's like, okay, now we gotta see. But numbers wise, I think that CJ probably had more passing yards. Now, obviously, Jaden probably had more rushing yards, but I think CJ had more passing yards. But in terms of like the way that they played and the uplift of their team, they both did the same thing. So to me, it's gonna come down to see who's gonna take their team further in the playoffs. If Jaden can get their team past the first round, and we'll see. If not, we'll see.
I think it was something special with the Texans having those two top picks last year. Like, just that in itself was just like game changing for their organization. Yeah. Like, you get a star on both sides of the ball that high, like it's only up. But I would probably have to go with CJ, like John said. If Jaden can get a playoff win, especially if it's they're gonna be on the road. If he can get it done on the road, that'll be tough. That'll be tough. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think in terms of the whole season, I would definitely go with CJ. I just think there's a lot of confirmation bias because Jaden had a lot of big moments late games this year. Yeah. But I think the totality is I would say for sure. All right, so I'm gonna just run through the rest of these. Y'all let me know if you see any snubs or anything you want to point out. So running backs, you had Saquon, Gibbs, and Jacobs in the NFC, and you had Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon, and Jonathan Taylor in the AFC. Fullbacks, you had Juszczyk and Ricard. Wide receivers, you have Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Terry McLaurin, and Amon-Ra St. Brown in NFC. AFC, you have Jamar Chase, Nico Collins, Zay Flowers, and Jerry Jeudy. Tight ends, NFC, you have Trey McBride from the Arizona Cardinals and George Kittle. AFC, you have Brock Bowers and Travis Kelce. Offensive line, Lane Johnson, Penei Sewell, Tristan Wirfs. NFC, Deion Dawkins, Rashawn Slater, Laramie Tunsil. AFC, you have Cam Jurgens and Frank Ragnow in the NFC, then Creed Humphrey and Tyler Linderbaum. Baltimore Ravens in the AFC. Guards, you have Landon Dickerson, Chris Lindstrom, Tyler Smith. In the NFC, Quentin Nelson, Trey Smith, and Joe Thuney. In the AFC, Nick Bosa, Michael Parsons, and Rashawn Gary round up the defensive ends. In the NFC, Myles Garrett, Trey Hendrickson, and Max Crosby in the AFC. And then you have interior linemen, Jalen Carter, Dexter Lawrence, Vita Vea, Cameron Hayward, Chris Jones, Nnamdi Madubuike. Outside linebackers, Jonathan Grenard, Van Ginkel, Garrett Burst, Nick Benito, TJ Watt, Khalil Mack. And then middle linebackers, you have Fred Warner, Zach Bond, Raquan Smith, and Zaire Franklin. And then cornerbacks, you have Jalen Johnson, Brian Murphy, J.C. Horn, Devin Witherspoon from the NFC. And then you have Derek Stingley, Pat Surtain, Marlon Humphrey, and Denzel Ward in the AFC. Strong safeties, you got Budda Baker, Brian Branch, NFC, Kyle Hamilton, and Derwin James in the AFC. Xavier McKinney and Minka Fitzpatrick round up the free safeties. And then you have Brandon Aubrey and Chris Bowell as the place kicker. Kick returner, you have Turpin and Mims. And for punters, you have Jack Fox and Logan Cook. Oh, I'm not going to talk about the long snappers. It's frustrating.
No love for the long snappers, bro.
They can look on Google for that.
Hey, question for y'all with the receivers, right? So like I was just looking at it when you were talking about it, but like, what about like AJ Brown? I know he missed a couple games, but like, do y'all think AJ Brown should be in it?
Name of the NFC receivers that made it again, because I definitely agree that he should have been in it.
NFC is Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Terry McLaurin, Amon-Ra.
I think he could replace Terry.
I think he replaced CD. What was CD's numbers this year with no quarterback?
He third in the league in receiving yards. 101 catches, 1,194 yards, 6 touchdowns.
I apologize, CD. No quarterback used to do that. I apologize, young man. Listen, I can admit when I'm wrong. I apologize, Mr. Lamb, sir. You deserve to make it. Now, this is my argument for keeping Terry in though, Hundo, because Terry was a dog this year still. I mean, him and Jaden were a hot connection in Washington this year. What was his numbers?
74 catches, 1,034 yards, 12 touchdowns. AJ Brown got 67 catches, 1,079 touchdowns, 1,079 yards.
I was about to say he scored 1,000 touchdowns.
1,079 yards.
Give him his jacket now.
Don't touch the field again.
In 13 games. In 13 games. He did that in 13 games.
Yeah. And I think that for a lot of people, bro, I think those injuries, you have to play a full season, I think, for to be able to make the Pro Bowl. It's hard for you to make the Pro Bowl if you're missing games. You can still be a top 100 player, I think, in the league for sure. Missing those games. Okay, talk to me.
Now I will say, devil's advocate here. George Kittle only played 14 games. He made it.
Who are the NFC tight ends that matter? name them to me first.
Well, you got McBride right there with him, and then after that, it's a little gap in these stats, my boy.
Exactly.
Tyler Kraft, 46 catches, 671 yards, and 7 touchdowns. Tyler Kraft, the tight end for Green Bay.
I know who he is, but I mean, NFC tight end, the list, bro, like it gets very, very short, very quick. Like I can name Sam Laporta, but he was injured a lot. He was injured this year, pretty sure. TJ Hawkinson was injured the majority of the season for the Vikings. So it's like the top tight ends for the NFC were all injured. So it's like you're gonna have everybody missing games. So those, it's like, okay, who's just at that point, from my personal opinion, I think it was just who was the most name recognizable. Because the 49ers were not a good team, but go ahead.
Laporta played 15 games. His numbers just must be down. He got 53 catches, 663 yards, and 7 touchdowns.
Yeah, and I think I like Laporta. I like his game a lot.
Yeah,
I think he should have made it. Who? Because you said Killman. Who else made it for the NFC?
Trey McBride
from the Cardinals.
Yeah,
he was tough.
104 catches, 1,081 yards, 1 touchdown.
Well, there you have it. That's all you need. 1,000 yards as a tight end.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think Sam probably made it as an alternate. I'm sure he's in there as an alternate.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't have any snubs from them. Tight end wise, NFC. You said AFC. I'm sure. What was it? Travis and who else made it? The AFC. Tight end wise.
Bowers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Neither one of them can be topped out. I mean, I think Mark Andrews is probably the backup for the AFC, tight end wise. But I don't know who else you would have put there. I mean, Brock Bowers. Who?
I don't think neither of them are getting replaced. But I'm just saying it's like the, third.
I didn't hear who you named.
Oh, Jonu Smith. He's been having a good year.
Okay. Any other snubs you want to discuss?
No. I'm not saying he should replace either one of them. No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
But
okay,
yeah.
I just want to make sure we're on the same
page. Yeah. No. I'm not saying he should have replaced either of them. No.
Yeah. Okay, say less. Yeah. Now I know earlier offline you had a question about Zay Flowers, man, making the Pro Bowl over the AFC receivers. But once again, like, you got to name me some receivers that were like, one had the season that he had. I know you were probably looking at touchdowns.
I mean, I was really looking at yards and catches. I was looking at the whole thing, really.
Okay. And so, like, I know you named Brian Thomas Jr. earlier as another guy. Who else do you think that? Who do you think that should have made it in over him?
I mean, Ladd McConkey, Garrett Wilson.
I'm not putting Ladd over him.
Bro, Ladd been balling, bro.
Bro.
Yeah.
Like,
did Ladd have 1,000 yards?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Okay. Who else?
Garrett
Wilson.
I promise you, nobody from the Jets is. They're not. Now, don't get me wrong. I love Garrett Wilson's game. Love his game.
But see, like, that's the thing. Like that was a part of my question too. Is like, is it just stats? Is it the record too? Like what all goes into being named a Pro Bowler?
And I think a part of it is the fan voting. So it's like who the fans see on a consistent basis are going to get votes if they're also playing well. So yeah, Garrett might be having a phenomenal season, but the Jets are terrible. They're what 3-14 or 3-13? Like, nobody's putting in Garrett. Unfortunately, that doesn't change him having a great season. But the same argument can be made for Brian Thomas Jr. The Jaguars suck.
In there.
Who
suck?
Okay, but that's different though because
like that's what I'm saying, bro. Like, we got to be consistent. But if we're not putting sorry teams in, we're not putting sorry teams in.
When it comes to fan voting, once again, you don't listen to me. When it comes to fan voting, they're going to look at those names and they're going to say, oh, I know Jonathan Taylor. He may be sorry, but as long as he's having a good season, I'm going to put him in over Brian Thomas Jr.,
I said, Jonathan's eating. Like, let's
that's what I'm saying. I agree with you.
But he on a sorry team.
He's not on a sorry team.
Bro, y'all suck.
Bro.
Hey, hold on, Collin. Read the quote that you sent in the group. Read that. Dysfunctional.
Man, I'm just not going to have you talk about my team like that, man. We coming back.
Yeah. But no, Hundo, like I said, I think that the fan voting plays a big part into the Pro Bowl because they try to make the Pro Bowl more than anything more of a fan thing. And so when it comes to like the voting itself, I'm not sure if you've seen the layout before, how to do the voting online or whatever the case is. But on the website, they'll have like the players, So a big part of that is name recognition. Secondly, when it comes to like fan voting on Instagram or X or whatever the case is, like those players with more name recognition, they're gonna get more retweets, more whatever, and those account for votes as well. So even with Brian Thomas Jr. or Ladd, who had great seasons in their respective teams, it's like, okay, if you don't have the name notoriety or whatever, like you're not gonna get those votes either. So I think all that plays a part into it. So yeah, those guys had great seasons, but like they probably be alternates, but they're not gonna make the Pro Bowl. So
all right, hold that thought. Let's go ahead and play that game. Would you rather? Since we're already talking about receivers, so we're just going to rapid fire, right? And we're going to start with some people who not elite. We're going to want to hear what you got to say. And it's based on this season.
This season alone, okay.
All right. So first one we got Zay Flowers or Terry McLaurin.
Dang. I'm gonna go Terry. I love Zay to death. Zay is a dog, but Terry is different. I can't even lie and say Terry not different. This season, he was different this season for sure. Now Zay, once again, Zay's tough. I love you, Zay. If it was somebody else, I probably would have picked Zay. But it's Terry McLaurin, so I'm gonna go Terry. That's a Ravens fan. Go ahead.
Scary Terry.
Yeah, give me Terry for sure. Lad McConkey or Garrett Wilson?
Garrett Wilson. I like Lad. I like Lad, but I'm taking Garrett.
Yeah, Lad tough. He a dog. He a dog.
Yeah, Lad tough. I'm still taking Garrett though. Me personally.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right. Puka Nacua or Nico Collins?
Ooh, that's tough. Let me get Nico. I'm going Nico. Nico's a bigger body, and I don't know. I like Nico's game more. For me.
Man, Puka done took over as number one receiver, man.
Puka didn't play the whole season.
Huh?
Puka didn't play the whole season. Nico did. Oh no, Nico's in it too.
Hey, he played enough games to make an impact.
I mean, yeah, but Nico did too. Nico has now stayed healthy over his entire wide receiver room. So,
hey. All right.
Cooper Kupp, who?
All right.
That man Puka's a grown man. That man can walk in your trap and take over your trap.
So who you say, Hunter? Puka or Nico?
Puka Nacua.
All right, John.
I said Nico.
Word. Let me get Puka. All right, Drake London or Cortland Sutton?
Drake London.
Yeah, I'm Cortland Sutton be making me mad sometimes as a Broncos fan. Bro, catch the ball, bro. like we need you to catch the ball. Like, I know you're the only weapon out there that both niggas got, but bro, catch the ball, bro.
Yeah, give me Drake.
I'm gonna go Drake London. I was watching them play the Chargers, bro. That man was going crazy on them. Like, bro, just give him the ball and get out the way.
For sure. I feel the same way. Amon-Ra or A.J. Brown?
That's tough. That's tough. I'm going to go A.J., but it's so close. It's so close. AJ just different on that field. I can't even hold you. But Amon-Ra is tough.
That's a grown man, bro.
It's a grown man. So I'm going to off that fact alone. But Amon-Ra is tough. He right there. Anybody? He one of them Zay Flowers types. Okay, if anybody else, I'd pick Amon-Ra. But AJ different. I can't put against AJ.
What? I know he missed a couple games, like we talked about a little bit earlier. He only played 13 games, but in them 13 games, that boy's a grown man.
Grown man.
That's a grown man.
Throw it up to 11.
Don't play with that man.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, give me AJ. You said AJ?
Yeah, okay.
AJ. Yeah.
All right. Mike Evans or Devontae Adams?
Mike. Rocket Tay tough, but Mike.
I know. I just don't want to say it. It's okay.
Yeah, he don't want to say it.
It's okay.
I'm gonna say Mike.
Hey, what like this?
I think the better question would have been Devontae Adams or Garrett Wilson.
This year?
But see, the thing is, didn't he sit out with the Raiders? Like,
bro, Devontae been having his games, bro. He been having his games where he go off, bro. Where he still show flashes of being like a top 3, top 5 type receiver.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna take. But what I'm saying is, when you look at the stats, I think Garrett will have better stats because Devontae set up them games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, John.
Tay tough, man. Don't get me wrong. Tay still him at 30 years old, but Garrett Wilson, man. I like the young man's game. I like that young man's game. I really do. Give me the old head, man. Give me Tay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. DJ Moore or T. Higgins?
T.
Hey, I saw what T. Higgins did to Riley Moss last week, man. That was enough. That's all I needed to see. He cooked that boy.
Yeah, I got T too.
And he about to get a bag.
Yep.
For sure. Tyreek Hill or CeeDee Lamb?
CD.
Given the circumstances, CD.
You said this season, so
yeah, exactly. You said this season, that man ain't had no quarterback, man.
Right.
All right, so what we talked about before, Malik Neighbors or Brian Thomas?
I want Malik Neighbors. Brian Thomas is tough, but Malik, I don't know. He with New York as a terrible organization, he still was like getting off. So
Yeah. All right,
Bro,
the last. Okay.
Who was throwing Brian Thomas the ball? Like the fact that he was going crazy, like without a quarterback.
Malik Neighbors the ball.
I mean, yeah, that is true. But yeah, that is true. Yeah.
Give me Malik. Give me Malik. Who you got, Hunter?
I don't know.
Gotta pick.
I'm gonna go Malik. Malik.
All right, the last one: Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase?
Dang.
Off this year,
son?
Jamar.
You got to go Jamar. Yeah.
Jamar. Triple crown, loading.
Yeah. And it's another one of the matchups. Anybody else? I'm choosing Jettas. Anybody else, but Jamar this year, what he did to the Ravens twice, I watched it in real time. I said, Lord, if you don't do it right now, because we cannot stop this man. He is a dog. So yeah, I got to go.
So is Jamar the best receiver in the league?
This year?
Are we talking about this year or are we talking all time?
Right now, yeah. So right now, basically.
I mean, yeah. The way he's played this year, bro, he's the best in the league.
Yeah. Pay that man his money.
Immediately. The Bengals about to bring out
him
5 bricks.
Him and T need to get paid. I don't know about who, but they need to get paid.
Yeah. I mean, the Bengals going to pay Jamar. T, I'm sorry. The time is done in Cincinnati. But you still get a bag. Because they can't afford to pay both of y'all what y'all worth. I'll tell you that right now, which I love. The Bengals downfall is a great thing to see.
Not the evil laugh. Yeah, give me Jamar, man. Jamar Chase, man. Best receiver in the league this year, man.
And so all time, you got like careers right now, you got Justin, just in terms of the career as a whole.
Yeah, career as a whole, I got Jettas, but this year I got Jamar.
I'll say Jettas too.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. Yeah, Justin Jefferson, he is actually golly. I'm just looking at Jamar Chase's stats.
Triple crown.
But they insane. His numbers are crazy.
Oh my gosh, he's leading everything in a wide margin.
Doing everything for that team
with 0 fumbles. That's crazy. Yeah, it's clear, man.
No. Hey, they should have paid that man before the season started.
I don't know why
they should have paid that man before the season started.
Yeah, I try to tell people before this season, bro. I was like, listen, this is the last year the Bengals will have T and Jamar. Why should I tell you? Because there's no way they're going to be able to pay both of them boys. And they can't. Not after the season that both of them had. Not even just Jamar. T also had a crazy season. So this is it. They can't pay them boys what they worth. Not both of them. And they already paid Joe Burrow too? Yeah, no.
Yeah.
They don't. I don't care what the cap is. You can't pay all 3 of them.
And they got the defensive end on the other side too.
Hendrickson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
decisions have to be made.
Man, you're paying Orlando Brown, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Yeah, they need an offensive lineman because that man Joe Burrow is back there getting killed. No cap.
I know they sad on the money they spent on Orlando Brown, but I could have told them that.
They had to do something.
Sorry.
Bro, they need a lineman, bro. They needed it. They was down bad on the offensive line, bro. Probably still are. I don't even know.
Orlando, man, let me tell you something. I rock with Orlando when he was in Baltimore. But after he left us, when people leave Baltimore, bro, like it doesn't always work out for them. It doesn't always work out for them guys. And he's unfortunately another victim of it didn't work out for you, bud, when you left. So, I wish you nothing but the best in life, but the worst in the field.
Not the worst was crazy.
Well, at least while you're in Cincinnati. Because not your rival at that point. So it's like, I mean,
Man, so that's it for this episode, man. We got some exciting games coming up, so y'all tune in. We got some special content coming your way soon. So if you're looking for anything outside of NFL and college football, we got that content planned for you as well. So y'all tune in. We appreciate the love. Y'all continue to comment, like, subscribe, and share. We appreciate y'all until the next time.
Yes, sir. Peace, man. Y'all, like I said, like, comment, subscribe. Be in the comments, because I promise you I'm coming. I'm going to be right there. Y'all want to talk to me, I'm going to talk right back to you. I promise you I'm right here. Thank y'all. Blessings to all y'all, man. See y'all soon.
Yes, sir.